Ferrari's internal walls are shaking after the Brazilian Grand Prix, and now the president himself has stepped in with a brutal wake-up call for both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Hamilton's race in Brazil ended in disaster. Damaged front wing, a 5-second penalty, and another painful retirement. Leclerc? Knocked out early, 0 points. And Ferrari's leadership has had enough. Mercedes and Red Bull have pulled away in the Constructors' Championship, leaving Ferrari scrambling. With just 3 races to go, the dream of finishing second is slipping away and heads are about to roll. What did Ferrari's president really say behind closed doors? And how is Hamilton reacting to the team's deepening crisis? Let's break it all down, starting with the moment everything went wrong in Brazil. Brazil was supposed to be the turning point. The Grand Prix where Ferrari would respond, bounce back, and show the paddock they could still fight. But instead, it became the symbol of everything that's gone wrong in Maranello this season. In just a few laps, both drivers were out of contention, and once again, Lewis Hamilton was at the heart of the chaos. A race weekend that began with promise ended in silence, frustration, and finger-pointing at the very top of the team. For Hamilton, the Brazilian Grand Prix was not just another setback. It was a painful reflection of a season defined by technical limitations, strategic confusion, and a car that continues to betray his driving instincts. Starting mid-pack after qualifying woes, Lewis fought cleanly into turn 1, but a chaotic shuffle saw his front wing shredded in contact with Franco Colapinto. Despite the damage, he stayed calm, stayed focused, a 7-time world champion refusing to give in. But even a legend like Hamilton can't outdrive a wounded car. Floor damage, aero instability, and tire degradation left him helpless. Then came the 5-second penalty, a decision that stunned fans and raised even more questions about FIA consistency. But what followed wasn't just a retirement on lap 40. It was a statement of visual confirmation that Ferrari, for all its resources and legacy, has failed to give Hamilton what he needs to succeed in his debut season. Behind the scenes, tension exploded. Ferrari President John Elkann, rarely one to step into the spotlight during the season, delivered a direct and sharp message to both Hamilton and Leclerc. No more excuses. No more near misses. Ferrari was falling behind Mercedes and Red Bull in the constructor standings, and leadership demanded accountability. In a team built on pride, pressure, and perfection, the tone was not encouraging, it was confrontational. And yet, Hamilton's response was not anger, but brutal honesty. Speaking after the race, his words cut through the noise. "I've never worked harder for so little." That sentence captured everything: the grind, the mental toll, the pressure of wearing red in front of millions. He knows what's at stake. He knows how Ferrari works. But even he may not have anticipated a debut season filled with this much disappointment and so few answers. As Mercedes opens up a 19-point gap and Red Bull overtakes Ferrari in the standings, the warning is clear. Without an immediate shift, Ferrari risks ending the season not as a contender, but as an afterthought. And if this is how they treat Hamilton, one of the greatest drivers in history, what does that say about the system itself? This is no longer just about one race. It's about what Ferrari has become and what Hamilton may decide to do next. This wasn't just a bad Sunday. This was the breaking point of a season that has slowly bled Hamilton's trust in Ferrari's system. From the moment the lights went out in Sao Paulo, the warning signs were everywhere. A sluggish start from both red cars, a midfield melee that no one took control of, and then disaster. Lewis Hamilton, squeezed in traffic, made unavoidable contact with Franco Colapinto, damaging his front wing. But what followed was far worse than a racing incident. It was Ferrari's lack of clarity that turned a manageable problem into an irreversible collapse. Hamilton, through sheer experience, stabilized the car and asked for answers. Should he box? Was there damage under the floor? Would they try to stay out and hope for a safety car? The silence was deafening. While other teams had already switched strategies, Ferrari hesitated again. And by the time Hamilton was finally called in, the time loss was critical. He rejoined buried in dirty air, far from points contention, and visibly frustrated. Not because of the contact that happens, but because he had no tools to fight back. And then came the penalty. A 5-second punishment for unsafe rejoining, issued while Hamilton was already on the defensive. The irony: he had radioed the team seconds earlier asking for guidance on how to re-enter the track cleanly. But no detailed instruction came. Once again, Ferrari's indecision exposed their most valuable asset. At Mercedes, the radio would have been alive with options, GPS overlays, exit markers. At Ferrari, he was left guessing. By the time he served the penalty, the race was essentially over. He ran several laps off pace, struggling with aerodynamic imbalance, heavy tire wear, and minimal rear grip. It was not a fight, it was a waiting game. Eventually, the team made the call to retire the car. Hamilton didn't protest. The tone was subdued. Not defeatist, but disappointed, a man who knew that no matter how hard he pushed, the system around him was broken. Meanwhile, Red Bull and Mercedes marched forward, collecting crucial points. Ferrari, with both cars out, watched helplessly as the Constructors' Championship slipped further out of reach. With only 3 races remaining, Mercedes now holds a 26-point advantage over Ferrari. Red Bull, despite their own issues, leads by 15. The fight for second is slipping and Ferrari's internal cracks are widening. The problem isn't the drivers, it's the structure. And Hamilton, despite the setbacks, remains the professional voice within chaos. The man is still pushing, still believing, but belief alone cannot solve what is now clearly a systemic failure. The numbers don't lie. Ferrari's SF-25 has become a technical paradox. It's a car built for raw speed but unstable under pressure, unpredictable in traffic, and difficult to optimize across different track conditions. In Brazil, all those weaknesses were brutally exposed. From the first laps of free practice, the Ferrari showed signs of excessive porpoising on the back straight and inconsistent downforce through Sector 2. These weren't setup errors, they were structural traits that even Hamilton's brilliance could not mask. After the contact with Colapinto, telemetry showed a sharp drop in front-end grip, but it wasn't just the broken wing. The collision triggered underfloor damage, a crucial blow, considering Ferrari's entire aerodynamic concept is built around ground effect efficiency. The floor, the diffuser, the airflow channeling, all compromised. And yet, even after the swap to a new nose, the car never returned to baseline performance. Hamilton's lap deltas post-repair were between 8 to 12 tenths slower than optimal, despite him running clean air. More concerning was the inconsistent rear grip. Hamilton's brake traces revealed he had to alter his trail braking technique into turns 4 and 10, reducing rotation speed just to keep the rear stable. These are instinctive adjustments, things only a seasoned champion can do in real time. Yet no matter how precise he drove, the tools weren't there. Ferrari's technical response? A series of vague feedback notes, delayed tire switches, and no real contingency plan for the penalty he would later receive. Ferrari's issue goes deeper than setup. It's about integration. The car's chassis, engine deployment, and tire window are never in sync. Brazil made that painfully clear. While Mercedes managed optimal battery deployment and cooling in 27-degree ambient heat, Ferrari struggled with overheating in both energy systems and tires. That's why Hamilton couldn't push the car, couldn't handle 2 laps of sustained attack without falling into degradation. He wasn't holding back. The machine was. And still, Hamilton delivered clean overtakes in the early phase, managing traffic better than most on that grid. His positioning through Turn 1 was textbook. His throttle modulation coming out of the Senna S was identical to his Mercedes days. The talent hasn't diminished. But when you put a master behind the wheel of a flawed machine, you don't get magic. You get frustration. And right now, Ferrari are wasting a driver still operating at the highest level. If Ferrari can't give Hamilton a stable platform, they are not just compromising races, they are jeopardizing the future. The car is fast in qualifying trim, but fails in race evolution. That's not a driver issue. That's an engineering flaw. One that becomes more visible each time Lewis tries to do the impossible and finds himself abandoned by the tools at his disposal. When Lewis Hamilton walked away from the SF-25 in Brazil, he didn't shout. He didn't point fingers. He didn't erupt in front of the cameras. That silence spoke louder than any outburst. It was the calm of a man who has endured everything Formula One can throw at him and knows when the storm is bigger than the driver. After the race, his words were clear. I'm not okay. Mentally, I'm not okay. Coming from a 7-time world champion, that statement is not a weakness. It's a warning. Hamilton has always been more than just a driver. He's a strategist, a motivator, and above all a team builder. At Mercedes, he forged a dynasty built on mutual trust. At Ferrari, he's walked into a legacy weighed down by chaos. The Brazil DNF wasn't just the loss of points. It was the breaking point of months of internal friction, of system failures, and promises that haven't been kept. His frustration wasn't aimed at a teammate or a mechanic. It was directed at a structure that keeps failing to protect its greatest asset. Psychologically, the season has demanded a new level of resilience from Hamilton. Every race becomes a mental reset. Every weekend starts with hope, and too often ends with damage control. In Brazil, after fighting his way through chaos, managing a wounded car, adapting his driving for a broken floor, he still faced a 5-second penalty for an incident he barely controlled. That's not just frustrating, that's defeating. And yet he showed up. He debriefed. He supported the garage staff after retiring, the mark of a true leader. But behind the media mask, Hamilton's mental fatigue is now visible. His tone in press conferences has changed. His language is less guarded. The smiles are fewer, the silence is longer. And while Ferrari fans want to believe that 2026 will be different, Lewis knows better than anyone change doesn't come from slogans. It comes from action. And so far, the action has been reactive, not proactive. There is also the unspoken comparison. He watches George Russell thrive again at Mercedes. He sees Max Verstappen recover from the back of the grid to P2. He sees Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri fight for wins in a McLaren that finally delivers under pressure. Meanwhile, his Ferrari, with its promise of a new beginning, leaves him defending against Alpha Taurus. That contrast hits harder than any penalty.